Hello and good evening. Welcome to Healers Enlightened Network. We are here today for webinar 140 to talk with you about iridology. The first thing we're going to do, though, is we're going to have a group healing session between us. So if you would please, we're going to work on pulling imbalances out of your eyes. So if you could just close your eyes and allow the love of the Lord to come within us and allow all the angels and the blessings of the archangels come in. And we're going to ask them to please allow us to do a group session where we can remove imbalances from our eyes. And this will also work for the people that will come in and that will see this in the future. Okay, the first one is overwhelm, and it's a wall of overwhelm from age 7. We're going to release this 365/7 permanently. There is a wall of terror at age 22, released 365/7 permanently. A wall of unsupported, and there's several of them here. Age 7, we're going to release this 365/7 permanently. Age 23, we're going to release this 365/7 permanently. 41, we're going to release this 365/7 permanently. 60, we're going to release this 365/7 permanently. Okay. There's a despair anchor from age 2. I don't belong here. We're going to take that out of the eyes also. And there's self-abuse, walls of self-abuse from age 10. We're going to release that 365/7 permanently. From age 25, 365/7 permanently. Okay. Is there anything else we can release? A toxin of adrenaline, cortisol, and noradrenaline for not being able to see clearly. We're going to release that. Stubbornness is coming out very loudly. Let's remove that. Replace that with peace of harmony. Something else. It's another toxin. And it's scalar energy. And here we are in front of the computer. Let's release that. And let's actually put our eyes and place them in a bubble of selenite and tourmaline to protect them at all times from all EMF rays. And that's all that they would let us release. And so we just ask that that passes with ease and grace, and within the next couple hours. Now your eyes might feel heavy, but they should snap back up out of it. Okay, thank you so very much. How does that feel? Any different? Sometimes you can tell and sometimes you cannot. Sometimes you can't tell till a couple of days later when we do a group. Okay, so I am going to bring up my PowerPoint here. I have a little problem doing this, so give me a little second here. This is a different on this new computer. And then I have to hit this and this. And there we go. Welcome to webinar 130. As I stated, the reason I put up this chart is because this is what Bernard Jensen, this is where I learned from 40 years ago. And this is what we used to do iridology with. And to do it on yourself, you would hold it up to your eyes like this and go to the mirror. And then on the other side is the other side of the eyes, because both eyes are different. And this is what we use. And then my my mentor got the camera that was involved in this. But let me tell you, to look through this and to look through somebody's eyes and try to see what I'm going to show you, you're going to see why I'm thinking, whew, I don't know how we did this. But anyway, thank you. Iridology itself is the science and practice that reveals inflammation and where it's located and what stage it is in before any blood test or anything can even be seen. It reveals the body's constitution and its inherent weaknesses and the levels of health that actually transmits from it. So within that person's accordance to the way they live is how your irises are going to show. So the iris represents the communication system that is capable of handling amazing amounts of information. But the eyes are proclaimed through everywhere. I'm sure you both have heard the eyes of the are the centers of the soul, or the eyes to the soul of the heart, right? Well, now iridologists claim that it's the mirror of the body. And this is why. The iris is the most complex tissue of all tissues, meeting with the outside world. Even though our conscious level is and our subconscious is doing all this, remember that the eyes are the extension of the brain, endowed with hundreds and thousands of nerve endings and so many microscopic blood vessels that we cannot even begin to see, and muscles and other tissue. It is amazing when you do this work. But various systems show themselves very poignant when they're not happy. So on this one right here, this shows that the respiratory system, if you see over here, this dark spot on both of the edges and down here at the bottom, these spots are where the respiratory system shows that it's not happy. Now there's several ones for each system. There's one of these for each system. And it's difficult at times to actually make it out, but it's amazing when you do. Now, iridology is the greatest asset in the ability to forewarn you of an upcoming imbalance within your body, which is, to me, is amazing. We can see tissue changes within the eye itself to which side of the body it's corresponding with. So if we want to keep our body at homeostasis, we need to watch our eyes, because remember, as wellness ensues back into our body after we've been sick, our body changes. Our eyes, the iris fibers themselves, will actually change, which is amazing. Now, in this picture, it didn't give me the picture that I actually wanted to bring up. It didn't bring everything. So this is just a cross section of the eye itself. And within here, we can go in and find the imbalances within the structure of the eye. If you've ever blinked your eye and had like a film come down over your eyes before, have you ever had that happen to you? That is what's not on here. That is called your fovea. It's F-O-V-L-E-A. And there's also a fovea, F-O-V-E-A. Both of them are different, but they are almost the same. When you're blinking and that skin's coming down and going back up slowly, it means that your fovea can be disconnected. Usually it's disconnected, but it can also have trapped emotions within this disconnection. And a lot of them are stress and anxiety, or when we stare too long at this computer. So anytime that you're working with the eyes, always make sure that you work with the structure of the eye itself. Remember, we can test if they're 20/30, 20/20, 20/40, 20/50, and we can take away the underlying imbalances within the eyes. Remember the book by Ina Segal, she has imbalances of what the eye is, but I got this new metaphysical anatomy, a book that goes much deeper into the imbalances of what lies within eyes. And I was simply amazed by what I found in here. Does anybody have any questions about this? Barb, do you have a question? Okay, thank you. Now, the iridologies. Okay, let me get back to where I was here.
Hey, Sin, I think Barbara was responding to you unless she was muted, so I don't think you heard her.
Oh, did I miss something, Barb? Go ahead and unmute yourself. My thingy is not working.
Oh, okay. I had cataract surgery.
Mhm.
So what was released? What was changed?
They took out, now do you see this? Let's see if I can get my little thingy to work. Where did it go? Can you see? Oh, you can't see if I put my hand on there either. On this very outside cornea, do you see this darkest blue out here on this outside cornea?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when a cataract occurs, it forms over the outside of the cornea. And it's just an extra layer of skin. And there's reasons we form cataracts also. And so what they did is they went in, they will either go in at the side of the eye or at the top of the eye, of the cornea. And they will just, it's very slick how they do it and peel it back and stitch it and it's over with. So that's what they actually did. Now those can come back, but if we eat the right type of healthy diet and stuff, then it will not. So that's what they took off, was off of the outside of the cornea.
Well, they also put a lens in.
Oh, okay. So your lens,
I see distance great now, but I need glasses for reading and everything else. So I have glasses all over the house now.
something you didn't want, right? I understand it. I had cataract surgery also, and it was quite different. And I actually could see without glasses for a few months, but now I have to have them. So it is very different. So the cross section is kind of amazing. I wish it would have brought me along to see all the other things. If you get out the anatomy of the eye, there are so many levels to it that can be disconnected and unbalanced and have despair anchors and trapped emotions and heart walls in them. It is
Kidding.
Oh no, I mean, and body walls. I couldn't believe some of the things that I have found in the structure of the human eye. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I have worked on several people with poor eyesight, and I'm just always shocked by what I find. And some of this goes back, remember, everything is inherited, or right? So some of this, we need to look back into our ancestry of what occurred with the eyes, because you'll be surprised at what you find. Okay, this next part is the zones. Iridology involves study of a variety of intricate tissues. And there are over 90 known areas on each iris. So that's 180 known areas that they can choose from. But remember, the right eye goes with the right side of the body, the left eye with the left side of the body, which is amazing. There are 7 zones that iridologists go off of, and you'll see why in a minute. And the stomach, the intestines, you can see how they lay and how the nerves are at the very, very edge. And there's a reason for this. It's very amazing what the eyes do tell. Are you ready? Do you have any questions here? Okay. This is what is called a nerve ring. And the reason I got it out of a blue eye is because you can tell easier. This is called a neurovascular cramp ring. And it indicates that this person has excessive nervous tension within their body. And it forms a buckling. And that's what you see here. Come on, where is my little thing at? Here we go. see these buckles right here that are along these top lines here? The nerve ring will never be the same. It will never be a perfect circle. But as you can see, as it's getting deeper and the deeper colors, this is where more of the buckling is occurring within the eye. And they also form a very acute white around it, as you can see. And the very acute is just, it's happening now. But this ring can turn very dark. And that means it's even more chronic of a condition that has been going on for a long time. Now, people with blue eyes, they usually have a lymphatic problem. You can see that. People with brown eyes are usually the more nervous type. The people with hazel green eyes usually have more kidney prone imbalances. And don't ask me why, but that's just the way it's stated.
Sin, I got a question for you.
Mhm.
I was born with brown eyes, but the inner part of my eye has actually turned hazel.
Mhm.
I still have brown on the outside, but hazel on the inside. And my sister, the same thing. We were both born with brown eyes.
I'll tell you why in a minute.
Was that?
I'll tell you why in just a second. Okay. There's a reason for that. These indications of these nervous rings that the stress is just way too much on the person and it's going through their muscular system when it's like this, and it's causing this storage of tension. So these rings mean that this person needs to relax. They need to find some sweetness in their life. They need to find out what is attracting this nervous tension in their body. And that's how you can go in and work on this. They work on it nutritionally. When an iridologist works on a body, they don't ever go in and remove the emotions and stuff like we do. They go in and start building that part of the body up. So it's not a breakdown, it's a tear up or backwards. So what we need to do is go in and find out what these physical are. And remember, when we have tension like this, it's just not mental, it's emotional, physical, and spiritual also. Tension can come from anywhere. These nerve rings are amazing. This is a person, we'll talk about this. The stronger the constitution of a person is, they're able to hold on to nutrients better. They're able to carry away that metabolic waste, and they'll be able to get rid of the accumulation of the toxins within the body. This eye is one of poor constitution. You see how this is beveled? This is poor constitution. It means that this person cannot hold on to any of those nutrients, and they cannot get rid of it in their toxic buildup. As you can see by these gold fibers here is where the toxic buildup is within the eye. Can you see that where it turns colors? Now this can turn back and a person can get their good constitution back. But remember, a person with good constitution can also burn theirs out, and it can be just like this. But a person can also have a good constitution and a bad constitution in the same part, because some people's health is better in some areas and not so in others. And it will show directly in the eye, and it will show both. So if you had a strong constitution, all these little spots would be gone and there wouldn't be any of this. This would just be a wispy eyeball, iris. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Any questions? Okay. Now, Jeff, this is what we were talking about. Colored spots on various forms of the densities are observed in the iris. These come under two different distinctions, psoriasis and drug deposits. The psoriasis are itchy spots, and these are these bigger ones, but they also have heavy, dark drug chemical deposits. So an eye can change due to inherent hereditary chemical deposits from their parents or from that's been passed down. So it can change an eye to a different color. And as you can see, these deposits of this chemical is out here in the lymphatic ring and in the glandular ring. And that's what a deposit looks like. Now over here, you can see the sclera is not good at all. This is the starting of jaundice. But you see how all of the nerves, all of the lines, the blood vessels go to this spot? That person's thyroid is in trouble. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So, what I was talking about is I have two distinct rings,
Mhm.
brown on the outside and hazel on the inside, like two
Mhm.
different eyes almost, one inside the other. And my sister's exactly the same way. And we were both born with brown eyes.
It's because of what's been inherited to you. Okay. So remember that these can be found within eyes, and we're all going to be looking at everybody's eyes after we see this. So next,
I just tried to take a picture of mine, but I couldn't get it close enough to get a good picture just to send to you to show you what I'm talking about.
no, not with a camera, you cannot. Good thinking. Nice try.
I tried.
You tried. Okay. We live in a world where irritations are everywhere and there's nothing we can really do about it. It's in the air, it's everywhere. So these irritations are reflected in this eye, and there are masses, whether they're white, acute, inflamed, wispy fibers, and it's very painful. And you can even have matter dripping from your eyes. The sensitivity is unreal when people are very irritated. Now, remember that you can use one of these little eye cups. I'm sure you've all both seen them. And you can put colloidal silver in here and wash your eyes out. But you only use it once and you wash it well and do it again because you don't want whatever's irritating that eye to stay in this. If you rinse your eyes with eye drops, never go this way. Always rinse and go out. When you go in, the toxin stays in the corner. You don't want it to go in. You want it out. And also you can put a warm or a cold wash rag over your eyes, and that will help soothe your eyes. But you need to go in and find out, what are you allergic to? What are you intolerant of that is causing this irritation? So that's what is causing it. Because if you've ever had your eyes like this, it's terrible. And this person, as you can see right here around the inside zone, zone 1, there's drug deposits here. And do you see this person has a mixed constitution? See how the big holes are here? But look at the wispiness around here. Do you see the difference? Okay, but thank you. Any questions about this?
Now, when you say drugs,
Mhm.
do you mean medications or recreational or both?
Both.
Both.
And chemicals especially will show up, but both. Yeah. Yes. Now, observing the shape of the pupil in this eye and its size, it is possible to learn a great deal just from this photo here. It means that this person is so majorly stressed that their pupil has drawn in. Now, remember, certain drugs will also make your pupil do this. Will bring it in. But when the pupil is wide and open more than what it should be, the condition of extreme nervous tension has gone past where it should, and now it is dealing heavier within the body. So you will see more panic attacks, you will see more anxiety, more depression, more outbursts. Okay? So what we need to do is to find the underlying reason of why this nervous tension is going on. Now, we also need to ask, is this ancestral? I'm finding that a lot of things, the more that I've researched for this and not remembering from 40 years ago, that a lot of things with the eyes are ancestral. And really, like, wow, okay, then almost everything that's wrong with us can be considered that to a certain degree. So even, do you remember when you go into the doctor's office, they flash the lights in your eyes to see how your pupils constrict? So they're checking whether whether they realize they're doing it. That is actually telling them whether your nervous tension is very tightened or not. Does anybody have any questions here? Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Now this one, the digestive system is the hub, and we all know that the digestive system is the most important system to keep the nutrients that sustain the body tissue, and it all comes from our gut when we need that normal bacteria, that homeostasis within our body. And coming out of the nerve wreath, you can see where the nerve wreath is right here. But coming out of the nerve wreath, you will see round halos like I was showing you, or the circle that's even lighter in colorations, like these little bitty ones. This indicates that there's a very acidic problem going on with this client. Right here is another one. This is one, this is one, this is one, this is one, and this is one. So the underbalance is that the stomach acid is flying too high. So we can bring the stomach acid down and make the body pH leveled. We can do that. We've been taught how to do that. Now, when the lines go the other way, and they do, it means the stomach is over acidic, but it also means that they are not getting enough digestive enzymes in their body to help break down their food.
I've heard and read that people with thyroid issues like myself tend to have stomach acid that is too low. The levels are too low, and that is related to the thyroid issue, being hypothyroid.
Now, do you check your pH level to make sure it stays in line, Jeff?
I haven't, only because I really haven't had any issues. I've had some personal issues, which you and I can talk about, where I've had to take antacids, Tums and stuff. But ever since that problem went away, the antacid problem, the acid problem has gone away. So,
right.
And also work related, I had some issues with acid stomach when I was at Home Depot. Really bad. I mean, a lot of health issues from that.
Stress. Yeah. And remember, you can also, to help your digestive system to kick in, we were showing this by Lana Nelson, you go 3 times down one side, 3 times down your front, and 3 times down the other side, and that will start your digestion. Digestion starts in the mouth. You can also eat some papaya 2 hours prior to your meal to help you digest. But you can also take different types of enzymes to help you break down your food. And different office will do that too.
I tried taking papaya years ago at a suggestion of somebody, I forget who, and it absolutely ripped up my stomach. I mean, I could not take it.
You didn't know to muscle test to make sure if it was for you or not.
Well, again, this was probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So
That's why you don't want to always run out and get things and do things what people say unless it's been muscle tested for your body, your certain type, because certain bodies can't handle certain things, and your body definitely can't handle that. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, now this one, I got a brown eye, but it came out purple, and a green eye. So on the brown eye, it shows you the open lesion. Do you see how these lesions here are on the eyes, and you see on the end how they're open, and this one is closed, this one is closed, this one is open, this one is partially closed. Do you see how those are? In the green eye, you can tell a little easier. See how they're open? This one's open, this one's open, but this one is closed, this one is closed, this one is open. These are called crypts in the eyes. Excuse me for and the other end being closed. So being open indicates to an iridologist that the tissue that is active in that nutrient, in that circulation, in that metabolic rate, and to get rid of the metabolic waste is at a much slower mark than what it should be at. So that it is showing us that the Constitution is not what it should be, but it shows us that it is an inherited weakness. So this is where you can go into and understand to try to uncover why these are in the eye, and where did you get them from? What relative did you get? Mom, dad, mom, and how many centuries back did it go? Was it a miasm, or is it just something inherited with the eyes? Is there an oath on the eye? Is there a vow on the eye? We just need to explore things. And because we have the abilities and the modalities we have, we can explore further into what is inherited. Does that make sense? Any questions?
So can cataracts be inherited?
In my opinion, yes. Just my opinion. That doesn't mean the doctor.
My grandmother had them. My mother had them. I had them. My younger sister had them.
See, and the doctor will tell you no, because I asked that question. They told me no, that can't be done. But in my opinion, yes.
I don't remember cataracts in anybody in my family, but last time I went to the eye doctor for glasses so I could drive, she told me that I will have them eventually. So who
Eventually.
knows?
Well, we can start you on something that can make that not occur. Okay, just by doing an eye wash. Simple as that. Okay. This is what's amazing here. This looks like a spoke on a ring. There's the spoke or the ring, and here's the spokes, and I have the spokes outlined on this one. Now, what this is called is a radiosolaris. It's when your bowel is so toxic, and you may have parasites. Do you see how this rolls through here? This is what you're talking about with your eyes, right? Nope. Okay.
No, mine actually are distinctive rings. Like I said, brown on the outside as a brown eye, and
Okay.
hazel on the inside as a hazel eye.
Okay.
So it's not like that at all.
Okay. It's not an opaqueness, is it?
No, it just looks like a hazel eye inside a brown eye.
Okay. Okay. So these elongated dark lines are the branches that spoke out like on a wheel, but an autonomic nervous wreath is on the very outside. And this is a sign that someone has a very toxic colon. So these lines indicate like tubes or troughs of where the toxic material is going straight to the brain. And amazing that our eyes can tell us that. And it occurs in the transverse colon, and it radiates up into the upper regions. So think about them as funneling this down here. So these channels of absorption can really cause a lot of damage. And the intensity of the color, the darkness, is how long they've had this problem. And most people don't see it until it's very dark. And we do need to have a bowel or a body detox. The problem is that most people that have done a bowel or body detox had an awful experience and don't want to do it again. But there is an easier way to do this to our bodies so we can eliminate these toxins from our body easier. And using zeolite is one of those ways, and kind of an easy way. They do have different kinds depending on what you are trying to detox. So does anybody have any questions about these spokes in our eyes? Okay. So this is what amazes me. I love seeing this. The first time I saw a rosary around somebody's eyes, I was amazed. This is called a lymphatic rosary, and it's in zone 6. And it becomes very slowed and overburdened with toxic materials because it's not able to release, God bless you, this out. So these little pearls on the end tell you how long the person has had it. And this has been a long time. Now they can be this color. They can also be brown and they can be tan. But this person, and you see the autonomic nervous sheath is very small. But when they have this, this indicates, unfortunately, the congestion within the body. Your body slows down. You're not able to rid your body of the toxins, especially the metabolic toxins. And this can also cause a resistance to stress and a resistance to even getting well, because our body is so weakened that this is when disease comes in. Now, I bet if we looked at people who are ill, especially if we looked at my eyes, we would see a rosary like this on their eyes. I wasn't taking a photo of mine. But the stress that a person has and a person unders, remember, your eyes showed eye, your body knows it first. We can go in and find out what type of stress is going on. And if this is inherited, if this is physical, is it emotional? Is it mental? Is it spiritual? Is it all? Is it a belief system? Is it an inner child imbalance? Where is this tension coming from that it has caused this much grief in this body? We can do that. We have the ability to use many ways to relieve this, and you will see the complete reversal, and these spots will dissipate. It's beautiful when the body balances out and the eyes are bright and shiny. Any questions here? Okay. Now this solid white line, has anybody ever seen this on anybody's eye before? You've never seen it. Okay. A solid white line in the iris. It's very opaque and it is foreign tissue of the cornea, but it produces the cornea and the sclera border, and it varies in width. It can get very wide and it can be very, very skinny in the severity of the condition. And this is when you have a heavy chemical deposit in your body. Now, chemicals can be from people that work out with the heavy toxins that they spray in the fields to industrial, et cetera, et cetera. They will show this ring. And as they do a detox, this ring will dissipate and it will go back to the normal color of the eye. So they do tell the story. And this can also be inherited. Now, this is just a single, and autonomically, it's a portion of the sclera that's coming over the edge of the cornea. And the reason this is happening is because the brain is not getting enough oxygenation or the nutrition it needs. So it's having like a cerebral anemia. And they are seeing more and more of this within young teens, younger adults that sit in front of their television, playing their games and on their phones, not taking deep breaths, not oxygenating their blood, not oxygenating their body, their brain, not eating the right nutrients. They're just microwaving it to Dickens, and they're not doing anything for their total body homeostasis. So what we need to do is have them shut off those games, get their boo-heinies outside, get some exercise, get some vigorous strength going on. More and more, as we know, teens are staying inside. We need to do something to bring them back to the light of where they need to be. So in this eye, it does show how sad this is. if we ever were to look at teenagers' eyes. And as you can see, the redness in the eyes, this is all pointing at the glandular. So they're not getting what they need. Now, this is the new Iridology machine. And it actually comes with parts that you can now hook to your computer. And it comes up to about $300 with everything you need. But working with Iridology, you also need to make sure you're certified in Iridology. To have the first step in Iridology, it's $1,400 to get certified. And I don't know if they, obviously now they probably do it online. Back when I was doing it, they didn't offer it online, of course, but it was $4,500. So I'm sure it's probably a little more than that now. But if you want to escape into something totally different and to work in a doctor's office or to work in another office that is a fundamental doctor, this is an amazing thing, an amazing modality to add to your other modalities. It's another way to evolve. Thank you. Now, any questions? No questions. Barb.
I went to a non-traditional healer one time. He does Chinese medicine, and his wife does massage. And he looked in my eyes and he said, "So you have high blood pressure and a thyroid problem." And I thought he was a soothsayer, and he was probably doing this.
Yes, he was doing Iridology. Yes.
And then he said, "I can fix both of those for you."
Yes, they can. It's very amazing how we can use herbs, oils, and other things to reverse and not put a band-aid on our body, but to actually bring it back to homeostasis. And that's what I want everybody to learn, is to bring everything back to homeostasis. Some people only want to use the simplest methods, and that's perfectly fine. But some want more. They want bigger results, faster results, because everybody wants something right now. They want to be well right now, but they need to realize they didn't get sick overnight. You're not going to get well overnight. And I need to listen to that myself. And I need to listen that when you put on tennis shoes, you just don't run the race. You have to go slow to be able to win it. And people don't understand that, unfortunately.
I see that in body code as well.
Mhm.
This lady had 2 sessions and decided it wasn't going to help her. And I said, "Well, how long has your leg been inflamed like this?" 22 years.
And she thought 2 sessions was going to bring it back. Okay, the first thing when you're starting to work with somebody, start doing this, Barb. Ask them first, write down receptivity and ask them what the percentage of their receptivity is. So that means, what is their subconscious? Is it 100% locked on to balance each and every single thing here? Second thing, ask if their level of consciousness, their conscious brain, wants this to be at 100%. The answers you get will floor you. A lot of people's levels of consciousness are below 100. So when they're that low, they are very fearful and not wanting to move forward. Do you not have the oh, it's downstairs, the LOC, Barb?
No.
You do not. And Jeff, I know you don't have it. Now, part of the new class that we're going to start in January, and Barb, how long you been doing this?
Emotion code over 2 years, body code soon after.
Okay, we're going to give a class in the new year going over the body code and the emotion code, and we're going to give out handouts that people were never given, and teach them new techniques and new abilities to get to where they need to be. Because at times when they're taught this, they are taught just little tiny little suburbs. It's through years and years of practice that you learn all these other things. But when you're handed information where you can learn about the belief system, about the core system, about limiting beliefs you may have had in you from generations back, a limiting belief that you don't deserve money, you don't deserve health, you don't deserve love, you don't deserve to have a home. You can have a belief that a limiting belief that keeps you stuck in the same situation that just keeps spinning. Now, sometimes these beliefs, there are 10 to 15, sometimes there's just 3 or 4. But where did you get these beliefs? You got them from when you were young. So is it an inner child issue? But we need to change. You remove the negative belief, you apply a positive belief, and then you double check yourself and make sure that inner child is happy. And then you check again and make sure it's not ancestral also. Because if it is, it's just going to keep coming back. You're not going to get rid of it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just going, some healers, but we're not really healers, we're practitioners. The body is the healer. So some just go an inch, but why go an inch when you can go a mile and give your client more than what they bargained for? And they're going to be blown away because how did you do this? How did you know this? You will stun them because they're just, and sometimes I know so many people do not believe in this work, but do they believe in energy? Do they believe in anger? Because if they believe in anger, they can feel the tension, right? They can feel that frequency. But what is the opposite of that? Love. So what is that frequency? If somebody doesn't understand, start with that. If you can feel this energy and you can feel this energy, and love gets stuck in your heart while anger and hatred get stuck in your liver, then what's going to happen to that liver? You're going to have an imbalance, or you're going to have a hepatic problem, or the bone marrow, or the spleen, anything that comes off of that. So we have to think, if we can convince them in other ways, like, can they hear the radio playing? That's energy, that's motion. The TV, that's motion. The microwave, the energies that warm up their food that you shouldn't use, that's energy. The whole 9 yards. Everything is energy. Our words are energy. So would we rather put out words of negativity and hate, or would we rather put out words of unconditional love and honor? Because what we put out is what comes back to us. And the more indecision and hatred, and the more you stay stuck in that circle and stay stuck in that past, you're not going to break free. You have to want to break free, to forget about this and evolve, and want to find out who you really are, who you're meant to be, who God already knew you were. And he's given you little hints here and there, but you missed them, and that's okay, because you're loved. And a lot of people don't remember that they're loved. And a lot of people need to forgive themselves, forgive others, stop this nonsense, and just love one another and be there for one another. So many people have this hatred in them and this fear. If we keep fearing, then it's going to come up and get us. So what did you think about iridology? We got a little off course there.
It's fascinating.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Mhm.
I wish I'd have kept on going. I was with Dr. Jensen many years ago, and he was just so cool, but it just seemed so, there were so many other things to learn about kinesiology back in those days, but now there's so much more. So it's really beautiful. If you want to get more into it, make sure you do get certified. You can play around with it if you want to get the stuff for the machine, but to actually learn how to do it right is amazing, because we can see impending illness. Our eyes give it away. I mean, if I could get close enough and you could see my rosary ring, you would be shocked. Our eyes tell us, go look at your eyes in the mirror. You're not going to be able to see everything because we can't, because of the light and the distortion, but it is amazing. And I'll make sure these notes are attached, the pictures and stuff, and for everybody can get the whole thing. I was planning on having it all, but it came across a little too quick. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let us bow our heads and just give thanks, and let us close. Thank you. Holy Father, we thank you for your graciousness of all the beauty that you give us and all of the modalities you have shown us and granted us, for we can help others do your job. Thank you for allowing us to do iridology tonight. And thank you for showing everybody that the eyes are the pictures in the mirrors of your body. We thank everyone that is with us tonight, and we bless you and we bless them. And in your holy name, thank you. Amen.